This is a class on fuel economy. So if you improve fuel economy, how would you know it? You have to be able to measure it. And nowadays, the vehicles have that little gauge on the dash. You can look at it and it says, you are getting 20.4 miles per gallon. Well, how accurate is that? And if you make a change to an automobile and you are trying to improve fuel economy, you go out and test it. How do you test it? Well, you fill up the tank, you drive, and then you fill up the tank. How many miles did you drive divided by how much fuel did you use? Whether it's gallons or liters, miles, kilometers. So when you're testing, there's factors that come into play that are beyond the control of the driver, such as altitude. Now, if there was somebody along the coast of California, let's say, or Oregon, and a good friend of his is saying, there's this shop up in the mountains, 200 miles away, does this fuel economy tune-up. I love it, it's great. Well, I'm skeptical, but okay. I know, I'm gonna fill the tank right here at home, and then I'll drive to the shop, fill the tank, calculate my fuel economy. Let him do his little magic fuel economy tune-up thingy, and then I'll drive back home, and I'll fill up the tank, and I'll calculate the fuel economy. Well, as you can probably imagine, he's going to drive uphill to go get the fuel economy work done, and then drive downhill. The guy could do absolutely nothing to the car, and he's going to get a 15-20% improvement in fuel economy. So altitude has, an old joke. You want to get the best fuel economy possible? Drive downhill all the time with a tailwind. Well, that's impractical. So when you're doing a fuel economy test, you want to keep everything the same in the before and the after. That's the scientific A, B kind of a test. Now, altitude is going to have an effect because the air is thinner, so the aerodynamics will have less of a play. But also at higher altitude, you have less air in the air. And so your volumetric efficiency is going to change. Your map sensor is going to register that. Temperature will have an effect. When you heat air, it expands. So hot air has less air in that same volume, and cold air has more. So aerodynamics, again, will come into play. So colder temperatures are going to push against the front of the vehicle harder, whereas warmer temperatures, it's easier to slide through. Your oils, your lubrication greases, they get thicker when it gets colder. So in the colder weather, now you have more parasitic losses trying to plow through, just running everything the way it's supposed to. Pretty much going to get worse mileage in the colder temperatures. So if at all possible, try to do your before and after test with the same temperature conditions. Wind, again, aerodynamics. If you do a fuel economy test baseline on a nice calm day, and then you go back to retest and it's extremely windy, that's going to affect your results. Road conditions. Now, if you put on your running shoes and head to the local high school track, you can run and you're not really working to get through the air. There's very little resistance in the air. But if you get into a swimming pool and try to run, now you're having to plow through the water. So if you do one of the tests on a dry day and one on a rainy day, your rainy day results will probably be lower because of that plowing through the water effect. Snow is even worse. Traffic. If you pick a nice country road, 2:30 in the morning, and you go on a fuel economy run, chances are you can go as fast as you want, up to the speed limit, of course. But if you take that same road at, say, 4:30 in the afternoon, then you're going to get stuck behind some old fart like me or a school bus. So your ability to maintain that consistent driving is less likely. In town, even worse. If you're going to go through town, one trip you're going to hit more red lights than on another. And then your driving style. Many, many years ago, my dad broke his leg. And for a couple of weeks, Mom had to drive the family pickup. When Dad drove, 15 miles per 18 miles per gallon. So try to have the same driver drive the before and after test and drive conservatively. We'll cover that in a later section. The fuel used. Oil companies will say you can get better fuel economy using our gasoline. Yeah. So try to fill up at the same gas station, brand, even the same pump when you do your before and your after. That way the quality of the fuel is consistent. But just be aware that the oil companies will change the chemistry as the seasons change. So in the summertime, they put more heavies in there that are less likely to evaporate off and cause excessive pressures in the tank and whatnot. And then the wintertime, they replace those heavies with lighter elements so that it's easier to start on a cold morning day.